Next Saturday will mark exactly 4 months since my last photography assignment. Today I'm going to be sharing some tips on how to get back into event photography after the lockdown. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry, the sound is a bit naff at the beginning, so I replaced the intro clip with this on my phone, but it does get better as the video progresses. But yeah, back to the video. 1 second. There we go.
I've come up with 5 tips on things to think about when you're getting back into event photography. The first one I want to talk about is speed.
As you become more and more proficient as a photographer, there's going to be less wastage and you're able to get that shot count in a shorter and shorter time. I think it's sensible to assume that you're not going to be at 100% straight away, so just give yourself a little bit of breathing room, just a little bit of space, just to be able to get that same quality, the same shot count, but just in a little bit of a longer time. The second point on this list is find that signature shot of yours, the shot that you're most passionate about, the shot that you're very good at. That's the shot that more often than not is the one that you're well practiced in. It's your signature move, it's your calling card. And I think if you can dial that shot in, everything else will fall into place and you'll be back in the groove a lot sooner. The third point on this list is clean your gear. Now is the perfect opportunity to just do a deep clean, all your lenses, all your flashes, every camera body that you have, all your equipment, to make sure that when you get that call, you're ready to go, you're 100%, and everything you bring in is sanitary. Obviously that's the most important thing, but it just looks $1 million, it looks 100%, and you're ready to go. It will help with the mental side of it, of getting your eye back in as soon as possible, but just make sure everything's 100%. You know, I was mortified this morning when I opened up my bag for the first time. There was a fine layer of dust on the top of it, and on the back of the camera it looked like it hadn't been used in 100 years. But yeah, just make sure everything's solid from the get-go. Number 4 on this list, and something I've been thinking about for a while, is to keep things simple. As you become more adept and experienced as a photographer, there's lots of advanced techniques that you're going to want to play with and incorporate as part of the kind of shots that you take. And there's nothing too complicated. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. You know, once you become experienced and good at this, you might want to experiment with taking the flash away from the camera and using some off-camera flash stuff. That's an advanced technique. If you like that narrow depth of field, and so you use a lens with a very fast aperture, just so you can pick out people or your subject in a point and then have the background completely blurred out, or even the foreground blurred. Finding that focus, getting that focus every time, that's an advanced technique. Using a fisheye lens, for example, if you're using a fisheye lens, it looks terrible some of the time, and you've got to know how to use it. But if you dial it in, if you like that kind of photography, you can make some amazing photos with such a specialty lens. So I mean, those are 3 examples of the kind of photography that I would class as more advanced. Keep it simple, go back to your roots, go back to the most simplest things, and then incorporate slowly those advanced techniques later on. I'm not being patronizing and saying you can't handle these advanced techniques. Of course you can. Of course, once you've experienced, they're very simple. You know, there's nothing complicated about off-camera flash. There's nothing complicated about using specialty lenses, and there's nothing complicated about using a super fast aperture. It's beautiful photography and it's great, and you should have it as part of your arsenal. But in those first few hours, those first few weeks perhaps, maybe step away from those for the beginning. The 5th and final tip I have for you today is something that I need to think about a lot, and it's something I've fallen foul of before. If I'd have put this tip as number 1, I think you would have turned off and not watched it to the end, because it is pretty patronizing, so I'm sorry about that. But it is, charge your batteries. I have shown up for events occasionally with half-charged batteries from the previous event, and it is embarrassing. Your flash doesn't work as quickly as it should. It needs extra recycle time, and it is really annoying. You can't get those moments. You can't be on the ball and shoot quickly because you've got these battery issues. So please, if you've had 4 months off or half a year off, whatever it is for you, your batteries will slowly lose charge over time. It's not such a big deal with the camera batteries, although obviously it's no big deal to keep those charged. But the flashes that we use are very intense in terms of how much battery they need. So yeah, just make sure you're going in with fresh ones, or with everything's fully charged from the get-go. I'm sorry if that's a little patronizing, but certainly that's one that I have lodged in here safely, so that I don't embarrass myself next time I'm shooting. If you've forgotten everything in this video up to now, here's a quick summary. The 5 things are: slow things down, use your signature move, keep everything clean, keep everything simple, and charge your batteries. That's all I have from this list and all I have for this video. Hopefully one or two of them maybe would be useful to you. Clearly there definitely is another video out there that I could do on this subject. You know, having not shot for such a long time, it doesn't really make sense for me to do that video now, but clearly there's a lot changing all the time, and you know, we don't know what the interactions are going to look like, how close we can get to people, whether or not we're handing cards to people in the future. There's so much up in the air, and I think there might be a useful video out there. If you want to see that kind of video, you know, please feel free, comment below, and I'll endeavour to get it done as soon as possible. But yeah, at the moment it doesn't really make sense for me to do. Stay safe out there, and above all, keep shooting. Because the first few takes were not great because the sound was all over the place. So,